Thank you, panelists. That indeed was a very interesting discussion, especially considering the fact that, like Kapil said, no one, I think, today is not on social media. So that does make it more interesting for all of you. Now, I will take over from Kapil for a bit here. So I would like to invite Pavangopal, Chief Marketing Officer at Nandus Foods, to make a presentation on advantages of poultry meat processing. Over to you, Pavan.
Me, I guess all of us are hungry, so I won't take a lot of time. Thank you for having me over. I hope you can hear me. Is this better? Perfect. So good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for having me here. And I'm here today to talk about the advantages of value-added processing of poultry meat. Okay? Doesn't seem like it's a very entertaining topic for many of you who've been talking about interesting marketing subjects here. Okay? So to get started, better than being cooped up in the corner. Oh, great. So in comparison to Nando's, which is a restaurant chain, we are Nandus. We are a homegrown farm-to-fork meat brand. So just to avoid that confusion, I'll just probably take a minute and talk about who we are and what we do. So we are an omni-channel meat brand, and the thing that we are very keen on becoming is the most valuable and trusted and most loved brand for our customers. I don't want to be India's #1 or anything of that sort. I want to make sure that I'm delivering value to our customers day in, day out. Okay? We also, apart from selling fresh and healthy raw meat, we also have a lot of food FMCG products. So we do a lot of ready-to-cook, ready-to-eat products. And we are also contract manufacturers, and a lot of QSRs as well as cloud kitchens come to us to get their recipes prepared, which they serve at different restaurants. Okay, that's about us. Like I said, we do all of this. I'm sorry about the colors, but I did talk you up in terms of what we do. Hopefully, they'll find a fix there on it. The reason why I'm here is to sort of talk about, is there an opportunity, is there a big enough opportunity to get everyone excited about secondary processing of meat? What can you do with it? How large is the market? What are the challenges? What is it that we need to do as an industry to get there? Okay? It's definitely a bright future. And I'm just going to touch upon few numbers and few statistics, and I'm not going to bore you with this. I'll probably take less than 10 seconds to do that. It's going to grow to twice the size in the next 4 years. And the numbers are there for you to see. Okay? The compounded annual growth rate is at 10%. And within the entire spectrum of FMCG and ready-to-cook foods within FMCG, the frozen food market is probably a very small chunk, and that's a challenge in terms of more to do with supply chain and distribution and logistics and the cold chain that is required to do that. But overall, the ready-to-cook business is here to stay, and it's growing really, really at a fast pace. Okay? What is actually driving this growth? What are all the variety of different drivers which is enabling this particular fast growth in this segment? So changing demographics, Indian consumers, and much like all of you must be seeing in your own businesses, they're upwardly mobile, they're open to trying newer things, their need states have changed, their spending power is increasing, and they're wanting to try new experiences, right? The need for convenience is on the rise. There's no two ways about it. Look at all of us here. We're also very busy and lead very hectic lives. So the need for the need for convenience and to be able to put food on the table at home is also extremely important. So today, it's no longer about eating out versus cooking at home. You need convenience even to cook at home. So the dynamic for any consumer today is all three. They order in, they eat out, as well as they still need to cook at home, right? So the advent of e-commerce and quick commerce is really changed the ballgame over the past 3 years, especially since COVID hit. All of us know what happened. All of us know how ordering in became a very important thing for everyone. But that has sustained itself over a period of time, and at least from the category that we operate in, we have seen it grow from strength to strength. I did hear panelists, and there was one particular question of whether you should have only a cloud kitchen or have an offline retail presence and a storefront. So an omni-channel business is actually very important, and the quick commerce players are here who are actually being able to deliver things fastest to the kitchen, and you need to be able to leverage that particular aspect too. Government regulations putting the spotlight on food safety is a big thing. FSSAI themselves, and there was a huge debate for the past 3 months. I'm sure a couple of you would be aware, especially with the labeling of the products. They wanted to sort of quantify it in terms of, whether it is healthy, unhealthy, give some sort of stars, much like the energy ratings. So at least discussions with respect to putting the spotlight on food safety is here, which is a very important thing when it comes to packaged food for sure. Okay? Emphasis on high quality, convenient and tasty products is at an all-time high. So these are things which are driving this business. And just to give you an idea in terms of, and again, not to look at the numbers, but if you look at it, the non-vegetarian food when it comes to the ready-to-cook market, is going to grow the fastest. The amount of offtake and the amount of business and revenue that you can generate over there is far higher compared to any of the other segments within this piece of the pie. And even in that, as much as seafood is also on the rise, poultry leads the way, and it's probably going to overtake, the consumption of vegetarian food very soon. All right? By the way, in our country, I would say the southern part of India, more than 90% of the consumers are non-vegetarian. The northern part is where it starts to dip. So overall, India, at about 70 to 75% of Indians consume non-vegetarian food, right? So it's obvious that non-vegetarian food, and chicken being the cheapest and easiest form of protein, is slated to grow, okay? Do we, as poultry farmers, poultry manufacturers, or food processors, why do you need to do this? Why do you need to create value-added products? It's obviously it's capex intensive. You need to set up a food processing plant. You need to set up the entire thing from the scratch. Is there an advantage in doing something like this? The growth numbers and the opportunity was right there for you to see. But apart from just that, diversification of the product portfolio is something which is absolutely important for any brand which has established itself and sort of has hit a plateau in terms of the growth that it is looking at, right? It is also extremely important that you sort of diversify and create products which are sort of in tune with the customer needs of today, and those needs are changing. It's no longer just fries, or it's no longer just chicken nuggets which are going home as ready-to-cook products or frozen products home. Today, the way in which a lot of these consumers, and when we do our study with consumers, they are using a lot of semi-gravy products. All they need to do is whip up a quick dosa for which batters are available in plenty, or they need to make a chapati, and they just add it on as a side dish. It becomes a wholesome meal for the kids at home. It's no longer just that snack time when kids are going to come back after playing and they're hungry and they need something crunchy. So the people at home, let's say the woman of the house or even the man of the house, is sort of keen on putting together that wholesome meal because the spotlight on health and fitness is also there. While there aren't many choices that are readily available yet, people are making use of trying to use these dishes in a very convenient manner and to put out a wholesome meal. So consumer needs are changing. The way they're using it is changing, okay? Differentiation is another big thing. So if your competition is very severe, I'm pretty sure all of you agree to that. So how do you differentiate yourself? And when it comes to food, if you can have that 1 or 2 hero products which hit the spot, and once somebody tastes it and they have that delightful expression on their face, I think you've won them over as consumers. So the hunt is on in terms of being able to create those 1 or 2 products which are going to make people want to keep coming back to you, okay? Obviously, increase in revenue, it opens up a new product line for you. And the more important thing is it's not going to be revenue for the sake of just growth. It's going to be responsible growth because the margins that you would be able to offer, or the margins that this business will allow you to expand, is actually way better than whatever you're going to do with fresh produce. So this is a line that people should consider. Anybody who's into food processing, anybody who is into poultry or any form of meat, I think this is a very interesting opportunity, and this together we'll have to grow this particular category, and the category is growing. But everything was all very rosy till now, but there are some imminent challenges too. Innovation is a necessity. It's not about getting that perfect recipe, but it's about really understanding the customer needs. And it's actually very difficult in India if you had to sit back and create a packaged food, especially in the food space. You know, consumers want something salty, they want something sweet, they want something spicy, they want something crunchy, they want something soupy, they want something soft. I mean, look at all of us. Even when we sort of step out for an evening snack from our work desks, it depends on the mood and what is there to offer. So creating one product or a string of products which cater to all of this is not an easy job. And apart from that, the way in which they're using this product is also becoming something which is more and more interesting. You know, a chapati at home with something like a spread on top is going to make a wholesome meal compared to something which is fried in oil and kept aside. Or a mealtime side dish. Assume you have a Punjabi chicken tikka, which you can, you know, sort of microwave or pan fry and serve along the side. And you can make any meal at home, which is a home-cooked meal, which could be dal chawal or rasam rice. And suddenly you have a starter, which is very tasty and interesting, sort of just elevates the entire mood at home. So understanding the way customers are using it, catering to their taste profiles is a very big challenge, and innovation, it'll begin with this sort of an understanding, and this is extremely important. Staying ahead of competition, because you know, it's not just us who is seeing this opportunity. There are so many players, and there are some very well entrenched brands in the space creating FMCG food products, okay? And staying ahead of competition is absolutely important, and innovation is the key. Innovation in terms of the type of dishes, introducing new and unique products becomes very important, okay? Make this a brand image builder, especially if you've been there for quite some time as a brand. You will need newer stories to connect with people. So if you're going to create a ready-to-cook biryani, imagine if you can take that home and all you need to do is pop it into the microwave, and if it turns out to be that amazing, and you know the smell of that biryani cooking is wafting in the air at home, and you're able to do the entire process in 5 minutes, it's definitely going to be faster than ordering in or eating out, right? It's still like the holy grail of trying to create something, but innovation is key, okay? Improving efficiency, because it's going to hit your bottom line at some point in time. It's not easy to launch a product and expect success overnight. For every successful product that get launched in the consumer space, I'm pretty sure there are about 10 which don't really work well. So getting that entire new product development process and being efficient in the entire production and supply chain is key for growth in this particular business. I was asked specifically to talk about certain challenges which are going to plague the development of value-added products, especially in poultry as well as in this category as a whole. Here are some of the things that I could look at. I'm sorry it's verbose, but I'll just touch upon the important things. Food safety is key. And having the right sort of facilities right across the supply chain is absolutely important so that you're able to put out a quality product that is guaranteed safe for consumption. Okay? Shelf life is another big challenge that everybody is fighting with. It is not just, there are many packaging methods and there are many other things which are available today to pump up the shelf life, but being able to cater to the same taste once the product is opened from the packet is where innovation is required. And this is something which requires a huge amount of effort, and there's a lot of effort that a lot of people are putting in this particular space to get that right. Flavor and texture, in continuation to what I said, processing impacts the taste and texture of that food. Getting it right and doing this at scale and then packaging it, there are a lot of challenges, okay? Cost. Producing high quality products with a longer shelf life requires a certain amount of large investments in terms of expensive processing equipment, packaging equipment, and also investments in terms of supply chain. That's not going to be easy, but there are some helpful government schemes, and I'll touch upon it in my next slide very briefly. Packaging, selecting the right packaging depending on the place at which you're going to sell this and the sort of packaging that suits your product is a very important aspect too. And last and most important thing, which I think I've gone on like a broken tape recorder from probably the second slide around, is really understanding consumer preferences and what they would want and what they would like, okay? Coming to the end, I think the government has a lot of, and I'm talking very specific from a poultry and a farming perspective, apart from food processing too, because that's the category that I represent over here. So there are many helpful government initiatives which are there. There's still a long way to go, but there definitely are many helpful initiatives for anybody who's keen on looking at this as a business. Okay? There's the Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. Okay, that helps you in setting up and expanding processing units, which is the primary poultry processing units, feed mills, development of raw feed for poultry. Then you have the MSME, small scale industry subsidy for setting up processing units of any sort. The National Livestock Mission, which will help you set up dairy farming, goat farming, sheep farming, and also scale poultry farming. But coming specific to processed food and food processing, there, in fact, under MOFPI, there are multiple subsidized loans, equity-free loans, grants which are available for people who are looking at that step of setting up a food processing plant and being able to take their products out of just their restaurants or their processing units in a package form. I think a lot more spotlight and events like these and conventions like these, we should talk about what's available, what are the sort of grants and schemes which are available, so it helps all entrepreneurs and businesses to take advantage and explore further. Okay? In terms of, is it worth getting into secondary processing and creating value-added products when it comes to poultry and chicken? 100% yes. It's something that we should all go for. The future is bright. It's not always fraught with challenges, but there are solutions to a lot of these things which are already in place. And I think we have brighter days ahead if we go down this particular path. When it comes to Nandus specifically, these are some things that we are always going to stand by. We are always going to look at making safe and healthy meat more accessible to people. Okay? Access is the most important thing. We may all want safe, fresh, and healthy stuff, but given that it's a commodity, if it's going to be 5-10 kilometers away from home, you're not going to drive 2 times a week to go pick it up. So we're going to make it more accessible. We're going to expand the retail footprint to make sure people have access to good quality products. Protect and ensure the livelihood of our farming community, because that is something which is extremely important. The commodity business is very volatile and they're susceptible to economic instability, and it's a huge mess that we have created. That is something as a brand that we are very keen on empowering our farming community and protecting their economic sustainability. We will provide the highest level of transparency to our customers, given that we are a farm-to-fork brand. We want to be sure that you as a consumer, when you're eating any of the Nandus product, you know where it is from, who grew it, where was it sort of raised, and the entire product till it reaches your home. And lastly, we will continue to innovate and launch more unique and newer products in the ready-to-cook space. We are on the hunt for taste and to understand consumer needs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pavan. As per